Hello, this is Perkz here, and I decided to make a quick analysis video for before the series, changing it up a bit for today, giving my take on it and prediction for the games. So let's get on. So basically, I wanted to start off with explaining the meta a little bit. I'm sure everybody who has watched or not watched Worlds would still not mind the recap. Basically, Orianna is just like really OP. I'm gonna start with my own role, right? I think Orianna decides a lot of the games at this tournament, the way she is being played or played against. So we have a few of the power picks: Orianna, Jarvan, Rel, Kalista, Xayah, and then Aatrox and Rumble. Those are like the best champs in given roles. They are like really high prio. There's of course other strong champs, but these are like the champs that are basically being in some sense either picked or banned in most of the games, like 90%, 80-90% of the games. So those are like the highest prior picks. So obviously Orianna is like by far the most powerful one. I think Orianna is just kind of OP right now. She doesn't really have many counters. As we could see, she's like really high presence. Of course, stats dominate everything, but I like to use stats and drove conclusions of the stats, which make sense. Like Orianna has 34 games played. The next one is 17, so double less. She's 60% win rate. She's blind picked every game, so she's first picked or picked 1-2 every single game. For a champion that's being blind picked and has 60% chance of winning the game, it just means she's very OP. Sure, Nico win rate is better, but double less games, and she's picked in like maybe better scenarios, right? She's like not perma first pick like Orianna. Still think Nico is very strong. So let's go into the draft. I think it will be a lot about that, like contesting the power picks. As we can see, I'm obviously focusing on mid lane first. Faker has played only 3 champs. Orianna, Azir, Sylas. Xiao has played way more champs. They also have a few games more. How this impacts the draft? Faker is the only player, or T1 is the only team that actually made Azir versus Orianna work. How is it important? It's important because Orianna actually is better champion than Azir, but Azir can match Orianna on lane and can actually beat her, especially with attention from jungle and support after level 6. Faker has shown to do this. Other teams not to quite high success as Faker did. That's a big draft gap for T1 because I feel like Weibo should probably just take out Orianna. So they have Nico played, which Faker doesn't play. I think this is also pretty good for Weibo. So I'm assuming, basically I've already prepped a little bit. I'm assuming this is kind of how it should look. T1 should consider banning Nico because they don't play it, and Nico is still pretty strong. It unlocks Jun's potential pocket picks, like Vi, Belvet, maybe Lee Sin, not Jun, Vei, sorry. Like Vei's pocket picks, like Vi, Lee Sin, Jarvan, Belvet, this kind of champs, and of course it's just a strong setup mid laner. I think T1 should ban Nico. They should consider banning Caitlyn unless they want to flip like a random matchup versus Caitlyn, something like, I don't know, Ashe support with like a Jhin or Varus. They could consider doing it. Otherwise, I think Light is very good at Caitlyn, and Caitlyn is just an always annoying champ to play against, so it's a considered ban. There is also like Rumble and Kalista, they are considered bans. The Shy has looked very good on Rumble, probably the best Rumble of the tournament. Kalista is just considered pretty OP, in general, quite strong, but doesn't have to be banned necessarily. I think these are like potential bans. And then for T1, like they probably want the Rel, Jarvan, or Azir in the game, because as we can see, these are like their most played. So what Weibo wants to do, they probably don't want to play the Ori Azir matchup, so they should probably lock Orianna ban, in my opinion, or first pick it on blue. But then they have to ban Azir, like T1, like they should ban Azir, right? Because Faker is shown very comfortable on it. So they are going to use one ban on the Ori or Azir, basically the whole series. I think so, at least. They want to ban Jarvan because he's shown really good performances on Jarvan, and it's kind of like unlocks their team a lot. So there will be something that they will consider banning, and the third ban is like an open ban. They can choose, to probably doesn't make sense to ban anything from bot lane. They've played so much. Maybe like targeting Faker and seeing what he's gonna play. Like probably when you do this kind of bans, you want to target the players that are showing the least amount of champions. So maybe there is even a chance where they just actually just ban Azir and Orianna, and then the third one can be depending on whatever they need, and maybe it is Jarvan, right? But it doesn't have to be Jarvan. And then you just go and tell Faker to play something else, right? Like basically, which I'm sure T1 is gonna be completely fine with. Now on to the next role. I think jungle doesn't matter that much. I mean, in terms of how the meta is, both players will just play to facilitate the laners. It's just how the meta is. Jungle is just like a dog role. They share similar champions. Of course, every jungle plays pretty much same stuff. As you can see, Lee Sin hasn't actually been played by either of the junglers, so maybe Lee Sin is just kind of useless on this tournament. So we'll probably stick to the CC junglers that we get. Now onto the next role is going to be the most important. I think bot lane is going to be super important in this series. As we can see, Gumayushi and Keria have played every single champion possible, but then they have also played that exactly same. And it's crazy how many champs has actually been played here. We can see how many different champs have been. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 champions. And then the thing is, he even played different champs. Look at this. Played Aphelios, he didn't play Aphelios. He played Sivir, he didn't play Sivir. Zeri. So that's 12 unique AD carries that have been played. So how does that work? That works basically that mid and jungle champion pools are very tight. So you want to get the strongest mid jungle pick usually early, and then there is other power picks like Kalista, Rumble, maybe Aatrox is even considered very OP. And then you just end up dropping bot lane 4-5, and you end up picking a bot lane duo I don't know, Senna Tahm Kench, Senna Nila, Kalista something, Jinx Tahm, Jinx Braum, Ashe Milio. I don't know, it doesn't matter what you pick. You just pick a bot lane 4-5 that is gonna be strong on lane and facilitate your team. That is how it's looking right now. Of course, that doesn't end up anything from bot lane still being really strong role. It just seems like it's very versatile at this point, and you can play a lot of things. What's interesting is Xayah has been really high prio, but T1 has shown that they are completely fine playing against Xayah. They have beaten Xayahs before with random champs. Weibo has 0 games on Xayah. So to me, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens about the Xayah, because now I haven't really tracked all the drafts to see if it's banned against T1 a lot, if it's not. I don't really know exactly, but Xayah is still a champ that is considered strong and OP by a lot of teams, so that's something that we should look out for as well. Probably not gonna be that strong if Caitlyn is in the game, but if Caitlyn is out, I think Xayah can still see a lot of play in this series. Now the top lane one is going to be very interesting. I didn't write anything down because they seem to be very similar. They're very similar players and very similar champion pools. They're both super aggressive on lane. They want to win lane. Both of these players want to win lane. If anything, maybe the Shy has shown a bit more versatility at this tournament. He's actually played a tank and carry champs, actual carry. I consider Graves and Queen to be carry champs. I don't consider, I guess Jace is a carry champ. Jace and Yona kind of carry champs. So they've shown different carry pocket picks, and they have shown versatility. The Shy has played tanks as well. Zeus has no Cassandra games, no Ornn games. Zeus is going to be looking to play a damage dealer, so this is going to be the biggest difference. Very interesting point about these two players is that they have 0 games on Jax. Both of these teams have 0 games on Jax, whereas Jax is considered a very strong pick. Now again, I don't know if it's banned. I don't, probably not banned every single game. It just shows that even when you get to worlds and the best teams in the world, that they just don't play everything. Every single player has these comfort champs. They have champs they are very comfortable with. Besides, I guess, Gumayushi and Keria. So now that we kind of now that we've kind of compared the teams, I would like to give my take on it. I think that personally, I feel like T1 just has has looked stronger to me. Like they beaten JDG, who was the world's favorite, right? I mean, they're on the way to Golden Road, and I think JDG was really fucking good, and that series was maybe considered the real final. You know, it can always backfire when you say this, but the series was super high quality. Whereas, like, I think both Weibo and Bilibili were not on the same level as T1 JDG, but you know, I could be proven wrong again. This is just my take on it. Gumeyushi and Kerry have looked absolutely correct this tournament. They've played everything. They've always been impactful. There wasn't even really a game where they were useless. Well, not to take anything from Light and Crisp, I think they're both very good as well, right? I just think I think the draft will open up for T1 a lot, because I feel like Faker will get targeted, and Faker is still gonna be Faker. Like, he's still gonna play something. He's still gonna play something else, and he's gonna do completely fine. Like, it's not like he's gonna be like, you know, headshot in the draft. So having said all of this, I think T1 is favored in my eyes. How can Weibo win? I'm not sure exactly. I think it's gonna be a lot about who's gonna be obviously the better team on the given day, who shows up better, who sleeps better, who eats better breakfast. It's always how it goes at World Finals. Like, not everything is about the actual skill level of your team. It's more about how you present yourself on the day. T1 has had a tendency to not really show up in the finals, not really play that good, so there's always a little bit of worry if they're gonna show up, you know. But I feel like they will not slip it away. They will not let it slip away this year. Having said that, the Shy has been kind of like key performer for Weibo these Worlds. Like, he's been kind of smurfing it up. Of course, he's had some end games, but he's done a major part of like doing well for this team. I mean, everyone for Weibo has had good performances. Obviously, they made it to finals, right? But I think the Shy just looked more, how you say, maybe not flashy, but maybe he's more in people's eyes, because like, stats don't say anything. Like, he creates a lot of space, he creates a lot of pressure on lane. He's just like a force to be dealt with, kind of, and he's known to perform at the international events, you know, and especially World Finals. So I think this is gonna be a super actually interesting series. I wrote down, I think it's gonna be a T1 3-1. I think T1 has just looked really fucking good. They are 10-2, and it doesn't say much, right? Weibo has dropped more games. I think T1 had to beat stronger opponents as well. Like, they've played against LNG, JDG. Even the earlier games, they played maybe against better teams than Weibo did. So I feel like their run has been harder and more impressive. Obviously, Weibo's run has also been impressive since they're in World Finals. It's just T1 looked more dominant in my eyes. Also, the way they played around tempo, around objectives in the last series has been really, really solid. And they've shown also they can come back from behind against JDG, who is... Like, JDG, if one thing there is about JDG is, like, once they get a lead, they don't just let it slip out. And T1 managed to, you know, snatch it out of their hands. So, T1 win, 3-1. I think they will drop a game, maybe, but I think they will recollect and they will take the series, and Faker will win his fourth World Championship. Yeah, thank you for watching.